This video starts once again at Alexandra Palace, where, by popular request, I'm doing the Parkland Walk. This is a walk in two sections, from Alexandra Park to Highgate, and then from Highgate to Finsbury Park. What makes it interesting, at least to the likes of me and I hope you, is that it follows the route of an abandoned railway. This was going to be part of the Northern Line, but was instead closed as a result of certain external factors. Let's walk and talk, shall we? This is the abandoned Alexandra Palace station, which I've done a full video about before, which I'll link in the description. It took me a while to find the actual start of the route, which isn't signposted from within the park. Actually, it was a helpful car park attendant who sorted me out. He didn't know about the walk, but he did know the route of the abandoned railway, and pointed me towards these remnants of the old line. The walk begins immediately outside the park via this foot tunnel. Now I'm on the right track, so to speak. A little about the route. The northern section from Highgate to Ali Pali, which is what I'm on, was built by the Muswell Hill Railway Company. It opened in 1873. It was primarily intended to serve the palace and, as I said in my previous video, had something of a checkered history due to the fluctuating popularity of the palace. In 1935 it was proposed that the Underground should take over the various branch lines in the area and incorporate them into the Northern Line in what became known as the Northern Heights programme. At that time the line was worked by steam trains, but the Underground intended to electrify the lines, which would make them compatible with the rest of the line and also make them more attractive to commuters. They got so far with that plan that here on Muswell Hill Viaduct you can actually see where the electric cabling was installed on these posts. Following the Second World War, there wasn't much money to invest in these big infrastructure programmes, and so the Northern Heights plan was abandoned. The line continued to operate with a reduced service and ancient rolling stock until 1954, when it was closed. The abandoned line was used as an unofficial walkway for many years until in 1984 it was made official, and so we have the Parkland Walk, London's longest nature reserve. At Highgate the walk is bisected. There are a couple of ways to get from the northern section to the southern. I took the long route through Highgate Woods, skirting the edge. Here's an ancient earthwork that may date back to the Bronze Age, nothing to do with the railways, I just thought it was interesting. Avoiding Barrow White, I came out in Highgate proper, and took a little detour through Highgate Underground Station. And here's why. If you take the Archway Road exit and look out the window through the trees, you can just about make out an abandoned station. This was the original Highgate railway station. During the war, London Transport actually converted it into a proper underground station, which, of course, was a wasted effort in the end. Sadly, it's not accessible to the public, but it's still there, like a refugee from a parallel universe. I continued along Archway Road and headed down the steep side road to the southern section of the walk, ignoring the warning signs. At this end of the section, the old tunnels under Highgate Hill are still very visible, although again not publicly accessible. This isn't for the safety of the public, but because they've been turned into a bat sanctuary. This section was built by the Edgware, Highgate and London Railway and opened in 1867. It actually had the opposite problem to the Palace section, in that by the start of the 20th century it was too busy to cope with passengers. I think this is the more interesting section of the walk, certainly if you're looking for relics. Like here at Crouch End, where there's a full-blown abandoned station. There's something very surreal about being able to stand on the platform of a station that doesn't exist. Incidentally, fun bit of movie trivia. In the film Shaun of the Dead, a deleted scene actually has a Crouch End Underground station, which raises interesting questions about the fictional universe there. There's something strangely apt about zombies at a ghost station, now I come to think of it. There's also this brickwork just north of the station. I know there was a signal box around here, but I don't know if this was anything to do with it. Onwards. Things like bridges, station platforms and retaining walls are obvious relics, but there are other bits to see around here. For instance, there are a few of these concrete bases. Were they for signs or signals or something else entirely? Let me know in the comments section if you have any ideas. What's quite interesting about this route is how much the area rises and falls. One minute you might be in a cutting and the next you might be on a viaduct or an embankment looking out over the city. I dare say it was quite a challenge for the line's builders, not to mention the engine crews. Here's another abandoned station, though not so obvious as Crouch End or Highgate. This here is the station house, and down here you can see the foundations of a platform. The goods office is now a bar, called the Goods Office. This was Stroud Green Station. Now, Stroud Green was a later addition to the line, opening in 1881. The walk ends at Finsbury Park, crossing the big railway via a footbridge. And it's time for me to make my way home. By train this time. Hi all, I hope you enjoyed this ambulatory episode of Tales from the Tube. If you did, then please do leave a like, share and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so for more content. Have you ever done the Parkland Walk? Have you spotted any relics I missed? Are there any other abandoned lines you'd like to see me explore? Let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you very soon for another tale from the Tube.